Giving the community a voice. Haver FM. How Community Radio.
Welcome to another Heeds and Hearts Scotland podcast. Our charity was founded in June 2021 to create, inspire and promote social connections through community arts projects in the How and wider North East Fife. We are working with communities impacted by the gradual dismantling of local infrastructure and services, lack of housing, limited transport links and the integration into our everyday lives of digital technology, contributing to social isolation and loneliness. There has been a lot of research on the effects of loneliness on our mental and physical health. It's seen as one of the biggest health concerns we face. Loneliness is as harmful to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Heeds and Hearts are working alongside local people and groups to build a programme of cultural activities based in the village halls. Governments and organisations such as WHO have researched the evidence supporting the value of the arts to alleviate loneliness. This can take many different forms, everything from singing to painting to writing. There are no age requirements for experiencing these benefits.
Hi, thank you for listening. My name is Ian Harrower and I'm the chair of Heeds and Hearts Scotland. We return to more edited highlights from our chum Ben Anderson's shows, which he recorded for us last May during our Haver FM How Community Radio project. Ben returned to his home village of Newborough, where he wove interviews with local creative people into his 2-hour shows, which were also packed with top-drawer music choices. Unfortunately, music copyright issues mean we cannot include these tunes in this podcast. In this episode, Ben spent some time in the family garden with his dad, Neil Anderson. I've had the privilege of working with Neil back in 2014 at the Big Tent Festival during his time as Transitional Steward at the Centre for Stewardship at Falkland Estate. Neil is one of those incredibly well-travelled people who can amaze you with stories from his varied career in the law, theatre, sociology, travel and the environment movement.
So I'm with Neil Anderson in his garden in Newborough, and Neil has the privilege and challenge of being my dad. He is a man of many hats, having had a long career as a family lawyer, then moving into working as a humanist celebrant, and my wife and I were lucky enough to have him marry us. He was the chairman of the Byre Theatre in St Andrews for many years, having been involved in theatre himself, and was even part of forming the Shooby Troupe back in the day. He has always been a keen gardener and he has always had a keen musical interest. Neil, you've had many jobs and interests over the years and reinvented yourself professionally several times. Tell us about your ideas on the importance of a portfolio career and also what motivates you to keep going.
It's been a challenge and excitement to do a variety of jobs. Yes, I've even been a tour guide in gardening in Cuba. So that was also great fun. In fact, you were with me in Cuba. I get bored very easily, I think is the short answer. And I like being of service to people, and as a humanist celebrant, that's very much what I do. So I'm privileged enough to actually be president of European Humanist Professionals. So I get to be involved with colleagues throughout Europe and to advance the cause of humanism throughout Europe. So it's I like a challenge. I like keeping going. As I joke, I'm now 106, so I probably should stop soon. But it's good to be, to get out of bed for other people is the way I put it. And I like to be engaged and busy.
Great. And you work as a humanist celebrant, as you said, around the whole of Scotland, doing naming ceremonies, funerals and weddings. Can you tell us a little bit about humanism and why someone may choose a humanist wedding rather than something more traditional?
Well, humanism is a positive life stance founded on a concern for humanity and the natural world. So for me, I'm a sort of an eco-humanist, I would say. So it's not just about people, it's also about nature and the environment. And that, for me, combines everything. I found humanism as a positive statement rather than saying you're an atheist or an agnostic, which is defining you in terms of religion. This allows you to just be a positive human being within the context of understanding each other, common sense, kindness and consideration towards others, and it's about respecting our place in the planet.
And can you tell us how conducting weddings, funerals and naming ceremonies has afforded you the chance to be creative and develop your writing style?
Sure. Well, being a humanist celebrant ticks many of the boxes for me. I used to do a lot of acting, as you know, and I've always liked writing. So, and I'm trained as a sociologist before I trained as a lawyer. So I've always used my ears, hopefully, to listen to people. And empathy is pretty strong as a celebrant. So, being serious, you're dealing with some of the most challenging times in people's lives. When you're talking to them about a funeral, then it's difficult. So you have to be very empathetic, and you have to listen, and then you have to craft a script and a ceremony that adheres to the wishes of the people. So whether that's a happy, joyful wedding or hopefully a celebration when it comes to a funeral, you've got to be listening to what they want and then delivering it and then revising it. So it ticks all the boxes for me: writing, performing, listening, and I'm really nosy, so I'm very keen on finding out about people. So people still fascinate me.
Let's talk about your musical interest. So you're self-taught on the piano and have recently started playing with some of the musicians in the community. How important to you is it to have a musical outlet, and what's it like connecting with musicians locally?
Well, I've always done music in some shape or form, from being a choirman as a wee boy right through to singing musicals and singing in the bands that we've had, and now I'm singing jazz with people locally, which is really good. And we're just for fun. I mean, we're not gigging, although we do the occasional gig. But we have a regular sort of get together once a week and sing standards, and it's a really good outlet. It's a good social outlet, and we even did it through lockdown using digital means, and which was really good because obviously we're all isolated, and so it was great to still be able to connect to people over digital microphones and headphones.
And finally, I know that that gardening is a big part of your life, and when we're in your we're in your garden now. You have a flourishing garden here in Newborough. Why is gardening so important to you, and do you find it's a space in which you can be creative?
Yeah, I mean, gardening for me is the ultimate creative expression in many ways, because it's kinetic, it changes, it's part of nature. You get your hands dirty, you also get to eat half the produce, because I'm a keen vegetable gardener. So for me, it combines a number of things. It's also very meditative for me. I used to listen to music all the time when I was gardening. Now I don't listen to anything. I just listen to the silence in my thoughts in my head. So I find it very stress busting. It's very relaxing. It's also hard physical labour because I'm an organic gardener, so there's a lot of digging going on, and there's a lot of compost making going on, there's a lot of barrowing going on, and I see it as my gym. So I don't go to the gym, I go to the garden.
Brilliant. And finally, would you like to choose a song for the show and tell us why you've picked it?
Yeah, well, I like a variety of things. I like jazz, I like classical music. I listen to Radio 3 a lot of the time, but I also like people that are slightly wacky and off the wall. And one of those is Björk, and I just adore Björk's work. She's had a tremendous career. Almost saw her, but then lockdown's got in the way. So I'm choosing Hyper Ballad by Björk because I think it's a phenomenal piece of work.
Brilliant. Neil Anderson, Dad, thank you very much for talking to me. I look forward to playing you on Haver FM.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed that.
Thanks to Ben and his dad Neil, and we will continue to share more of these special edits of Ben's interviews with the fascinating, creative people of Newborough in further episodes. Now, people get to hear about and find podcasts like this one if you share it, rate it, and talk about it. Please follow us on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Watch out for information on a new project coming soon, and find out how you can become involved in making podcasts about creative and fascinating people in your community.
beautiful view from the top of the mountain. Every morning I walk towards the edge and throw little things out, like car parts, bottles and cutlery, or whatever I find lying around. It's become a habit, a way to start the day. I go through all this before you wake up, so I can feel happier to be safe again with you. I go through all this before you wake up, so I can feel happier to be safe again with you.
Haver FM, How Community Radio, is supported by the Five Communities Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund through Fife Voluntary Action and the Scottish Government.